Hey guys, Mick here. In this lesson we're going to talk about trail scanning, and I'm actually doing this one without a bike today, so I'm not really sure why I've still got my helmet on, but I guess we'll just work with that. So one of the really common mistakes we get with riding, beginner riders will tend to look just at their front wheel. Now the advice they get from more experienced riders is always to look out into the distance, and the reality is this advice really isn't that useful. So the problem is you need to be actively scanning the trail, and what that means is you're looking backwards and forwards. So the way we like to think about it is in terms of now and next. So now is the terrain that you're imminently dealing with in front of you. Next is the next thing that's coming up. And what you want to be doing is actively scanning between the now and the next. So where we are today, we're walking through the bush, and we're going to try and make this sort of work as an example. But in a technical terrain where you're going quite slow, your now is basically where your front wheel is, right? You need to be looking at what you're going to deal with. Okay, the next is probably only 10 feet in front of you. So we're going along slowly, we're going to be dealing with what we're dealing with and scanning out to the next area in front of us to see what is coming up. Now obviously the faster you go, the more these distances are going to move out in front of you. So if I'm going down a hill that's not particularly technical and I'm doing 50k an hour, then my now is probably 4 or 5 meters away, because I'm not going to be able to react any closer, and my next is going to be even further out again. So the idea is those distances will move in and out from you as your speed increases and as the terrain gets easier, etc. But the reality is the technique is the same. The other key advantage of this technique, if you think about it, if you're looking at one set distance in front of you, then you only see each obstacle once as it comes through your field of vision. If you're scanning backwards and forwards, you'll see each obstacle multiple times. Now, even if you're not specifically concentrating on that obstacle, the fact that you're seeing it multiple times means your brain is going to build a better picture of the actual obstacle. And so that's going to make it much easier for you to make sensible choices about your line, or just generally to be balanced correctly on the bike and deal with what's coming up. So guys, we're shooting this walking at the moment, but feel free to try it on your bike. It's a really interesting exercise. So at the moment I'm cruising forward and I'm looking just in front of where my front wheel would be. Cruising along, and all of a sudden, damn, there's this big rock in front of me. And I wouldn't have been able to deal with that and probably would have got caught up. So clearly that sort of approach isn't going to work. Now if we try the other extreme, that's what the advice people are actually given, is I'm actually now looking 5 or 6 meters in front of me. So I'm riding along here and I can see that big rock, and I know that big rock is likely to be a problem, and I'm looking out into the distance. I can't see the rock anymore, and all of a sudden I've crashed into it. So quite clearly that really isn't going to work for you either. Now this time we're going to try the other approach. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my now, I'm scanning out to my next, coming into my now, scanning out to my next. Oh, there's a big rock coming up. Looking into my now, scanning out to my next. Looking into my now, deal with the rock, scanning out to the next. And you'll see, hopefully from the example, that that sort of approach is a way smoother way of dealing with the terrain. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this works for you. This is something that I actually practice a lot personally. When I'm out riding, I spend a lot of time focusing on actively scanning backwards and forwards on the trail and making sure I really am looking at the trail in detail and not just cruising and daydreaming. And that way I find that my speed increases, my confidence increases, and I'm way smoother on the bike. So get out there, give it a go, have fun with it, and we'll see you in the next video.